Hey guys, welcome to another edition of the Crypto Lab with Alex, featured by Trading Analysis. As usual, we're going to go and dive into a little bit of macro, what's going on in the world of rates and dollar and oil and a couple of other stuff, and then we'll switch to cryptos. I will recommend you also, if you want, you can listen our yesterday debate that we had on Wednesday show we streamed yesterday about inflation and how we see it. Of course, I will mention it today as well, but we are seeing some changes in the CME Fed tool and how the market perceives actual their path in the rates in the next couple of months. So let's start with that immediately. We have seen the changes into this latest CPI report, although the report came lower, which was our thesis for the last couple of months, looking at the commodity prices. And of course, we came just a touch lower, but the expectations was a little bit in a more of 8.1, and we came at 8.3, so the market considered that as disappointment and actually change, a little bit more drastically than it should, the current rearrangements of the rates moving forward. We even got a reading for 1% rate hike on the September meeting, which I don't think is going to happen. Yesterday this was at 33%, now we are at 26%, so I think market is realizing that this is a little bit more in this situation unreal on the upside. So they're starting now again to price in a 75 basis point move, and that is more realistic, and it was kind of, I think, priced in already in the market. But the stock market reacted negatively, of course, dropping pretty heavily at that day, which also in my view, it is a little bit more dramatic than it should. We didn't miss by much, but the expectation was, I think, much more optimistic than it should. So we went for a very short period of time, very rapidly and exponentially, not so exponentially, but very rapidly, with the rates moving on the upside. I don't think they can go down as the elevator does. So I think it's going to cascade for the next couple of months. But in general, if we look 2nd of November, we completely ditched in this current outlook a pause for a Fed. So the 14th of December is actually looks for a target rate around 4.425. So on the November one, currently we are still looking a 58.4% to that we're going to go to I think 75 basis points again. So we will see. Lots can change in the data for a month, but inflation is going lower, although this difference between the expectation and the current reading was a mismatch. Of course, the energy prices lead their way into this, and I think that the numbers as we go, we will see a lower number. So let's switch to charts. 10-year yields still going on the upside. So this is the monthly RSI, which I usually track technically. I'm just speaking technically, and we do couple our Elliott Wave analysis with a couple of these on a larger time frame. In my experience, RSI on a larger time frame, daily, weekly, monthly, is a kind of a sustainable, or it has proven its record over the higher time frames. So we have a very, I think, in the last 40 years, very high reading, almost the biggest one. And I think this is also signaling around this area that this trend is exhausted and that we're going to have a pullback. How big this pullback will be, we will see, of course. I am looking from this region for a smaller or a bigger move down in going into 2023. But what concerns me is that what we're going to see afterwards, and I'm going to talk about that in the next Crypto Labs, because as I see the technical pattern is actually developing even from the Elliott Wave perspective. When you have a 5 waves up after a 3 waves pullback, you might face another push on the upside. So that's a quite a different universe. If we start to move from this projected correction further higher, so we will deal with that subject. For now, we are still tracking this potential five-way move to complete in this region, and then have a, let's say, more or less sizable correction to the support levels. The same situation can be said for the 10-year Bund. This is the European equivalent of the US counterpart. So we do see after 40 years deflationary move lower. As you can see, we had these periods of sizable moves on the upside, especially in this 87, 91 era, and then this moves was not that sizable on the upside, but suddenly, as you can see technically, we are seeing a pretty nice move, which tends to qualify as a five-way move as it develops currently. We had a nice test of this longer upside trend line support levels. We are moving further on the upside. So I'm looking this as an intermediary wave 3, still in developing. ECB moved to currently at 1.25, but this will continue, I think, until they come to 2% or 2.25. They're lagging inflationary move in Europe pretty much, so they need to hurry up. And as you know, the propensity in European continent is much less to move rates on the upside than in the US. So I think that will actually be a more modest one and lagging the US initiative. But I do see a potential five-way move forming, which gives us still a question mark. What will happen after a corrective move down? And do we see potentially a continuation of this environment after this correction further higher? So that will be something we will have to discuss for the 23-24. But let's go one way at a time. Let's wait this 5 waves up to develop. It will take some time. Rates are moving slower. As you can see, all of this is forming already for 2 years. So this will take time to unfold in the chart of the 10-year German Bund yields. So if we switch to dollar index, nothing has changed much. The dollar has reversed a little bit on the upside. That was pretty much expected. I don't see dollar index going up to 120. I have two Fib ratios, which we usually call Fib clustering ratios, where we find a couple of different ratios, which when we put them on the Elliott Wave script, we do get a Fibonacci clustering, which acts as a very strong resistant levels. So I do see that levels coming from 112 to 114. We have an impulsive move on a smaller time frame, so I think we're going to get a little bit, just a touch on the upside. We are trading at 109.50, so 250 pips on the upside might be in hand for a potential reversal in dollars. So this also might pair up with rates, and we go modestly or substantially lower in a corrective pullback. But again, the question stays what we're going to go do in 2023-24, because even if you take this wave structure as the WXY, usually all of this has by definition a three-way move in it. So this will be an ABC, this will be an X. So this will be the first level of the A wave, move down in B wave, and then you're going to see a further continuation up in a C wave, which will actually take us even above 120 in the next couple of years. So this also pairs out with this observation on rates. So interesting times ahead. We have to seriously address this. as the time goes by, because something like that will be affecting the world economy much more than the current developments. Okay, so if we go and switch to Thomson Reuters index, nothing much is going on there. We are still either beginning a C wave down, or this is going to turn into some complex correction, but still the gravities to the downside. Very clearly the pattern displayed a nice 5-way move on the upside. We are now consolidating either A down in B, up in C for a B wave, and then move lower. So I do see potential 5 waves down from this top. So we are still not done in this commodity play on the downside, which might pair up with a wave count we have on the crude. This is the Brent crude. So I'm still going to stick to my observation, which also pairs up in the picture of the future higher prices and interest rates higher, that after a pause, which is ongoing, we might see a continuation of this move up in the next couple of years in oil. As you know, I'm looking very large time frame. So just for the perspective and the orientation, we are looking the charts which are going far back. And if we switch to a monthly level, we obviously see, if we observe all of what is going on, that actually this is a wave 1 and 2, a very nice development in a wave 3, pullback in a complex wave 4, A triangle B down in C, and then we developed, in my opinion, first wave 1 to the upside. I don't think in this situation the oil will collapse if we don't have really a big stock market meltdown, which we don't see for now. So I will rather than considering this a failed fifth wave, which means that we didn't reach the previous highs, but the actual trend has completed. I don't think that that is in cards here. I would like, as observing the complete macro setup, I would like to observe this as a pullback in a wave 2, a little bit more move down in the stock markets, and then potential continuation higher, and then when the rates kicks out, this will add for a further support for the observation of higher prices. And also geopolitically, we are living in a world where the common global flow of goods is greatly disturbed, and I think as we are seeing these blocks appearing politically, it will be disturbed furthermore in the years to come, which can give us supply problems and all of the other stuff. So let's switch to total crypto market cap. Still I'm looking this, I've still looked this as a corrective pullback, and I've been blowing the drums already from here that this was going to start. I don't think that the bearish sentiment is prevailing that much that this wave count will be invalidated. As I measure all the things, also if you look the weekly levels, the monthly RSI or weekly RSI is still kind of hovering into lower levels. So I think we are slowly setting up the scene for a potential fifth wave on the upside. It doesn't have to be of a larger magnitude, but that will correlate with our S&P wave count, that we see one more move on the upside, and this also correlates with the Bitcoin picture. So I will not, even if I place the wave 3 here, I will consider this as an ABC, with maybe a little bit more downside. And from this place, you will count this as a flat. So the Elliott Wave has a couple of good features. No matter how you look this correction in this context, even going down one more push on the downside, this will fit the same labeling. So either labeling this as a flat or some type of A up in B down in C with the wave 3. This also suggests a little bit lower levels and then reversal. Of course, the basing process, as we know, is going to last. It's not going to be that quick and swift recovery with these conditions. It might either from here or a little bit lower spend some time consolidating before we finally start, in my opinion, for now, a new uptrend in this total crypto market cap. So let's switch to cryptos and let's look what's going on there. Our script from the last week is functioning good. I will most likely introduce daily updates. We're gonna prop out this channel a little bit more with updates. So if you like to subscribe, that will be something that will give you notification because I might start to produce a daily update when I see an important changes, which will actually allows you to look my wave counts, my opinion, and the narrative which is actually currently going in the crypto world, all that together in a daily update. So if you subscribe, you will get the notification. So I'm still talking about this with guys, so we might introduce that. So be on a watch for that. And also I'm doing a crypto course, which I will announce fully in a week or two, where I do have an extensive extensive kind of a lectures how to use these fib ratios for measurement, which is a very useful tool. So also be watch on that. I will announce it here in the next 2 weeks. So let's continue. Let's look for a Bitcoin chart and what's going on there. Of course, my case is that still Bitcoin is a psychologically lost in all of this. We don't have any narrative supporting the Bitcoin currently, because still it's not a currency, it's not an inflation hedge, it's not a pristine collateral, or it doesn't behave maybe just a little bit as a digital gold. So we don't have still a solid case. Of course, it behaves as a high beta Nasdaq risk assets, and it follows what's going on the stock market due to liquidity. So we can say that Ether currently has much better underlying narrative and use case than Bitcoin, in my opinion, because of what you can do on that network. So anyhow, I do think the same as I said for the total crypto market cap, because the Bitcoin still has biggest market cap. So we do look this in an overall uptrend still. We are hovering around this 200 moving average. We might have one more push lower towards 15K. And then I think we're going to start moving further on the upside. So there is no still a wave count invalidation. So Bitcoin, according to the Elliott Wave rules, needs to go into the territory of the wave one, and we are still relatively far from that. This comes at 13,826. So I don't see still a danger of changing the overall wave count, even if you put this as a top and you say the Bitcoin, okay, this was a longer term top on the Bitcoin. This will be a 5-wave move, and you will see a higher retracement on the upside towards 33 to 41K. So I don't think it's time we turn that much bearish. We don't have any signs for that. I'm hearing calls from 2,000, 3,000, 5,000. I don't think we are still in the environment which will encourage that scenario, especially looking at the Ether chart. So I do think we're gonna find some type of a basing process here now, or a little bit lower, and that will allow us when we have these pausing rates to go up in stocks, and also that we're gonna go up in the risky assets classes, which Bitcoin falls to, and that this 5-wave move is still unfinished, and we're gonna see new higher prices. Ether is behaving relatively nicely. We proposed last week a little bit of a movement lower, which is actually, I think, ongoing now. So we do see Ether trading pretty nicely above this 200 moving average, and it tends to kind of test it again. So I do for now have this as a 5-wave move with an ABC pullback and then a continuation on the upside. Ether Bitcoin ratio still functions very nicely in favor of Ether. And on that front, we do see this continuing on the upside. We were pretty bullish on that from, I think, this region. And now we have a nice potential development here from this C wave in a 5 waves up. I think we're gonna have a small pullback before we start moving higher in this Ether Bitcoin ratio. So let me go back to Ether and complete. Of course, we have a merge, which I think is completed. And lots of changes, of course, in this network. I think it's going to affect it on a good side. I think 5 waves down ABC for our members. We have, of course, make this case over here with the potential reversal. Maybe the fourth wave on the smaller time frame is still not finished. Maybe we're going to see one more push to the downside before we start some type of a secondary wave. So in my opinion, of course, wave count validation on smaller time frames are here, and these Fibonacci levels after correction as we see it now is done, might provide some opportunity on the downside, and we do hold this as a current wave count, but only to this 1,300 to 150 area, because even if Bitcoin goes lower, I don't think that Ether will go and follow it further below this low that we have seen here. Of course, on this daily chart, this 200 moving average presents an obstacle, as you can see, but on a weekly one, which I think has a more weight, we are still trading pretty nicely around it, and we might test it before we form a base for a further reversal. On other fronts, I didn't see much, to tell you honestly, of any of these cryptos forming anything impulsive yet. So lots of people always ask for XRP. So this XRP still is in some type, I think, in triangulation. So I don't see this still as an impulsive third wave on the upside. In order to change that, we are still trapped into some type of a sideways movement. Of course, we have a court case, but we are still in kind of a time relation with the wave 2. So this is the real data. I just formed it here like this on a crypto compare because we don't see bars. But we had a wave 1 and wave 2, which now wave 2 was pretty big and looking for the right look with an extensive wave 3 on the upside. I still do consider that this is some type of a longer consolidation in Ether. There is no signs here either for the upside or on the downside, so I think we are trapped in a sideways with a little bit more time potentially for a reversal on the upside. I mean, there is a case you can make this a flat, but it will be most likely a running flat and continuation higher. It's not much a different wave count than this one, so I don't really care much about these differences until I see impulsive wave up and signs that it's going to recover. I'm definitely not be participating in it. So if it is a triangle or a flat, it's not much of a difference in the current development. So yeah, guys, so that is an overall view on macro and crypto. Yeah, we still stay in this kind of a midst of markets questioning when the Fed will pause. Is deflation is going lower? Are we going to have ease? What will happen geopolitically? So basically the same questions are still hanging around the air with the stocks moving lower, and kind of investors and community are thinking what will be the next move in the next 6 to 12 months. Lots of things to digest there. I will stick to my thesis, looking mostly technicals and also some of the fundamental facts. That we are going to see a pause in rates coming soon, and that will allow stocks and cryptos to function in a little bit more kind of liquidity friendly environment. Copper. Okay, so let's look copper. So I see Felix is always asking for that. Let's indulge him for a copper chart. So I don't see much of a changes from here. This might be a flat. I do agree on that. 3 waves down, some type of a 3 waves up, and potential forming. Even with stocks going lower, copper might already have some type of 5 waves up and a pullback. So not necessarily copper might go to a new low. Okay. So that is not required here. Potentially this was, let's say, midterm low. So for now, it's just kind of a balancing itself in this environment. Copper is a good economic barometer. With the price is also correlated with Australia exports, China, and lots of other things. So it's always good to look copper, but overall, on the higher time frames, I don't see that copper is forming something so impulsive to the downside. We are keeping this support for now, and maybe I will allow one more push to the downside if stocks goes one more leg down. But from there, we might experience something which might take us higher. So currently, I'm looking copper like that because I think the 5-wave sequence here has been completed. And that we have some type of flat development which might be already finished. So if we will put some Elliott Wave numbers here just as an orientation where we are, we will probably look for some type of 335, and this wave 5 might be an expanding diagonal, which is a rare, but it fits kind of overall measures because there is rules to expanding diagonals. Wave 1 will be the shortest, wave 3 in the middle, and wave 5 will be the longest one, in the contrary of the contracting one. So if we are on this type of a wave C, an expanding one, it means that we actually have the bottom here and that we might experience a little bit more downside before we see a fruition either up to an ABC move, or this can be transformed into more impulsive move on the upside. So as long as we are hovering around these levels, I'm not gonna change this outlook. And as you can see, I'm not changing so frequently the outlooks. I stick to a kind of a highest probability that I dissect from the DISO conditions and macro environment, and also pairing that with Elliott Wave picture. So, hey Schnitzel, Schnitzel has a strange, I don't know this crypto, as I don't know many. Let me just look, what is the DX, if I'm correct. I think it's this one. Yeah, we did looked for this one for the movement lower. I don't remember actually analyzing that. We did, as I see here on the charts, we did qualify this as a triangle with one more move down, which we got, but after we didn't came back to it. So many things that we do and analyze. So this have also features of a potential 5-wave move on the up with a ongoing flat. So if we look from the perspective that this is a 1-2 up in 3, 4, and 5, and we have some type of a 3, 3, 5, or even if you look this as a top in some type of impulsive move up, correction should not go much further than this one. Sometimes when you have a flats in a second wave, they can go 88% of this move, what we usually call a double bottom. So I will be, usually when I see these type of things, I'm pretty kind of cautious. I want to see a nice advance challenging these previous swing highs for a potential exposure on the pullback. So I'm not a low catcher because I've been burned so much time during my long, I will say, career in financial markets. I learned that there is an unnecessary urge to be right on lows and highs. So actually, I think I have a more frequency of being right, where I abandon this urge, then while I have it, because the excitement was so big. So this is something every goes through. I think many people which say that never catch bottom and try to catch them are maybe in a very small percentage. We have that urge as humans, so I think it's quite normal, but you need to overcome it. So I will not have, when I see these charts, until I have some clarity. Also, this can develop into a 5-way move on the upside. So, let me see. FTM, gold and silver. Yeah, I always forget that. No, I don't think it's collapsing. There is just a touch potential. I already prepared a couple of wave counts. I don't see gold collapsing. I think it's linked pretty much with the dollar index. So we are in a very strange environment when we actually see a correlation between the dollar and commodities going together, which traditionally you need a specific mix of circumstances combined with pandemic and all of this, what happened, that actually we saw for a number of months dollar and commodities goes up. Dollar from the, let's say, rates and all other different influences perspective, and commodities, of course, because of the supply problems and the war. So as you can see, specific mix can give different combinations. So I don't think gold is moving lower on account of anything else. Gold actually is just plain. Airplane drove so low, probably military one, as you heard. So I hope nothing is going on. So yeah, I don't think gold is still something that we can say it's actually finished its move on the upside, and silver also as well. So I don't see that. Let's just check out gold and silver before we start to look some more cryptos. Yeah, so the wave count invalidation, it's still not valid. We are very close to it. Most likely we're going to invalidate it today. So we have to put it in the context of the higher time frame, which you clearly see we lack a fifth wave on the upside. So I do still consider this. We have to label it differently, of course, but I still think we are going to keep to some degree. And as you know, I have always been insisting into a confirmation on a larger time frame or a higher degree wave one if I want to have, I'm speaking in my name, if I want to have some exposure. So we are now probing, as you can see, this 200 moving average on a weekly, and I think this will finish in some point and as some type of a wave four. Silver is always already reversing, so we didn't see a fully developed 5-way move in silver, but we have a nice push on the upside, still not a 5-way move, and that is the danger when you are kind of wired to try to catch any lows. Somebody is capable to do that, I'm not, so I'm going to look for a bigger confirmation before I seek any involvement. Also, gold-silver ratio is something that I showed yesterday on the stream. It's really interesting one. I will show you that because we are seeing some developments that are confirming that also following this silver reversal, we might see a bigger development. So I've presented this chart before, and you can see on that chart a sharp reversal from our resistance zone. So our resistance stretched with a couple of fib ratios and a couple of clustering in a well-defined zone. So that's why I think even if you don't use Elliott Wave, the fib clustering and knowing a couple of other fib ratios, you can kind of define very narrow zones where you can reduce your risk. So from this chart, when I do identify this as a 5-way move lower, even with the smaller truncation here, and then up in A, down in B, up in C, with the triangle as a pause. So this needs to go down into 5 waves and a pullback, and then we can confirm that the probability will increase pretty sizably, that silver will continue pretty much on the upside, while the gold will have I will say slower movement than silver, as you can see on this gold-silver ratio. Okay, so for now this chart also functions well, and yeah, so we will see how this relations is developing. So let me look. I think we just looked at chart K for Schnitzel. DADX. Wow, again, my lord. I don't know which plane is it. It must be a MiG-29. We have a number of them, but it flies really low. Yeah, I mean, we experienced a lot here, so nobody will kind of pay specific attention. The only thing it's people will ask why it's flying so low. Maybe he's saying hello to his wife, or who knows. Okay. Let's see. DKNG. Okay, let's look at that one. DKNG. I don't find that as a symbol. DKNG. Yeah, I cannot find it, so I will try on this other package to find it. DKNG. Nope. So I'm sorry, I cannot find this one. Yeah, so if you want to check us out, guys, you can go to Trading Analysis website. We have an extensive, normal, kind of reasonable crypto service, which gives a pretty nice setup. If you want to trade this on a, not for a quick Bugatti style reach features, we try to behave reasonably and mathematically, using the couple of tools that we are really good at as a team. So if you want to check us out, you can do a trial at Trading Analysis. Please, if you can do us a favor, and if you like, also subscribe to this channel, because you will be notified when the daily video starts. And we will start to introduce that, I think, pretty soon. So thank you guys on your attention. I hope you find this analysis and macro and crypto useful for your observation of the markets. And of course, see you next week. Stay well, and see you guys. Thank you. Bye bye.